I'm sorry. Usually says recording in process, but it didn't say that. But it says it's recording, yeah. So hopefully. Is there like sound that maybe got turned down? On a previous?
Picking up audio.
But usually it
Yeah.
talks to us.
Right.
It says meeting and recording in progress is usually what it says. Did you record, did you hit the recording?
Yes, they
button?
did, but
Okay.
usually when I hit record, the machine will tell us.
Yes, it will.
Recording is pretty much, so I'm just wondering if we're missing an audio component or if we can just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's do it. All right.
Okay, so Tina says we have to.
One minute. I follow the order.
Yes.
I think you lead this meeting since there's nobody.
No, she's got it right.
Somebody's gotta call it to order, right?
Yes, I can call it to order as the library.
Yes, you can. You can call it to order and then turn it over to the members. Yeah.
We run a very tight ship here. I call the meeting to order at 4:00. I think routine business is thing who's here, but we should probably start with, since we have 2 vacancies, determining who we act as
Whether or
temporary.
not you have vacancies, you have a quorum. You have enough to run the board, so you can elect your chair for the year.
Okay, can I make my nomination?
Sure.
I would like to nominate Megan Hughes to be our leader.
Seconded. Okay, excellent.
We need now VP, right?
Can you just stay as chair? I think
Actually, you need to vote before you go to the next one.
Okay, sorry. This is why I should never be in charge.
So great, so it was accepted and Eve, you vote Megan as our chair,
I do.
yes, all in favor? Aye. Great.
Okay, now Megan can chair the meeting. Excellent.
Okay, thank you, Megan.
Sure, let's do some roll call. Jennifer Redding,
I'm present.
Eve Marks,
I'm present.
Kathleen Teeple,
Here.
Tina Montero, here, Josh Mormon,
They're present.
Renee Hughes, present. And on to the approval of the minutes from our last meeting on December 10th. Motion to approve
I
and a second.
I'll second.
Minutes approved. To routine business. Which I guess we've already completed.
I
Yes.
think we did.
Okay.
We've been right through this.
Yeah, your assistant director review.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Looks like we were just here. Thanks for coming by. So looking back to December as we typically do, I mentioned a couple of these. I think the last time we had our meeting, these first 2 ones that happened, but we'll talk about them again. We had our monthly board game night for grown-ups on Wednesday, December 4th. At 5:30, we had 9 people come, which was pretty good for us. We hadn't had that many people in like 8 months or something. So that's encouraging to always see, especially when we have some more new people come out, which we did. And then on Saturday, December 7th at 2, we had a book talk with Zoe Dossier, author of Cactus Country, a boyhood memoir, and we had 16 people attend. And Zoe will be back early in May for a memoir writing workshop.
Question before you go on. Is Zoe a country boy?
Well, no, so
Because it's a memoir.
Cactus Country is the name of the
I just read it.
trailer park that Zoe was at as a juvenile.
But it's a boy's memory.
Yes, memoir, yes. So it's also kind of going through Zoe's sort of journey of gender as well,
Okay,
gender identity.
that was the
Yeah.
question. Yes. They go by they them. They them, okay.
And then our last event that we had December 14th at 1 o'clock, we had a film screening. That would have been in October. Film screening of The Cameraman, which was Buster Keaton's kind of last sort of masterpiece film. We had a really great print of the films from the Criterion Collection, and also included a score which everybody commented on that they loved, which was specially commissioned for the one that we watched. Criterion was able to get for this release in 2020. It's an excellent transfer. I don't know if Dan has it checked it, ready to check out in the library, but if any inclination towards silent film is a lovely movie. And we did have 11 people come out for that one, which was our 5th time that we've had double-digit attendees for films in the year. You know, this is part of our programming that has ticked up a bit as the year has gone on. And speaking of ticking up, or more than ticking up, as we get into January adult programs, this last Saturday at 2 o'clock, we had author Willie Vlog, who's also a musician, back, put out his latest book called The Horse in August. And we had standing room only in here. I was pulling out chairs and making sure that we were up to like 500, basically. I've never needed to do that before. It was astounding, but I counted 64 people. So, I know. Yeah, you're one of the standards. Yeah, thanks for yeah. But we have all the
And I
seats.
tried to sneak in, but it really was so packed.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was really incredible. And Willie was great. I mean, there's a reason why I brought him back. I mean, he's a really great speaker. And he's one of those people where, you know, he's getting through one of the stories, and I'm thinking to myself, I can have him go on for another 6 hours and just listen to another story. He did just such a good job, as I would have guessed, with sort of incorporating from where he was coming from. Is the protagonist of the book is a musician. And so Willie's a guy who's been in a couple bands and has seen the country and the world to a degree, traveling as a musician, and to be able to take the different slices of what that life may or may not be like, especially some of the harder edge ones, which he's really adept at sort of getting into. It was really nice. And then he did bring his guitar and he played 3 songs for everybody. It was great. And, you know, he asked if he could put away some chairs afterwards, and I was like, "It's my job. Don't worry about it." We chatted a little bit about movies. He liked seeing the movies that we had coming up. We have a little flyer right now. If you haven't seen our upcoming films.
Where does he live?
He lives technically he's in Scappoose.
Oh, okay, great.
And he also mentioned the book that he's working on now, which is about house painters. It's not about house painters, but the protagonist is a house painter. Kind of talk about how we got to that. So we will definitely have Willie again. He's really easy to work with. He's really just a great. We had somebody who came by who, in speaking with him, said that he'd been to a number of author talks in the last number of years, and this was like the favorite one that he's been to. So it was a real success. So I don't think he'll be able to top that for the rest of the month. But tomorrow we have our monthly board game night. Hopefully we can get some of our newer regulars and some of the people who've been trying us out to be able to come back. I also still have these my same 2 chess guys who are coming every month. So it's kind of nice to see these guys who sort of met at board game night turn out coming back every single month to sort of sit down and, you know, have a game of wits. That's going to be tomorrow, and then this Saturday we're going to have a film screening at Wolfhound Loop starring Paul Newman. So look forward to that one. Tested that today, looks good. As far as our teen programs, tomorrow at 3 they're doing portrait painting with partners. I like the alliteration there. It sounds like that's going to be a sort of a fun exercise. This Saturday is their teen book club. They're reading Shatter Me by Sahara Mafi. And then Wednesday, the 15th at 3, they're making pizza pockets, and I'm sure enjoying pizza pockets. Wednesday, the 22nd at 3, they are going to be going over the book awards. Can you guess the winner? So this is also like the movies, right? This is also the time of the year they start doing those book awards. So it's kind of a fun thing for Mary to have that conversation with the teens about what books did they really think were great reads from this last year and who do you think might be able to win some of the upcoming book awards. And then on December, still last year, Wednesday, January 29th at 3, they're doing an apples to apples marathon game, which sounds fun. We got that over Christmas, and my son was very mad that we could just play apples and apples like this morning when he's getting ready for school. I'm like, it takes a little bit longer than you think. January preschool story time last week. So they're always on Thursdays. On the 2nd at 10:30, the theme was introverts. Notice I did not put an exclamation. This week at 10:30, the theme is crayons, which seems it will be nice and fun and colorful. The 16th at 10:30, the theme will be pigs. The 30th at 10:30, there will be dragons. Hopefully the pigs don't run into the dragons. And then on the 30th at 10:30, the theme will be the letter Q. Yeah, I like it. Additional programs and things of note. Saturday, the 18th at 11 is our monthly youth Lego club here in the community room. At the end of the month, they're ending the youth winter reading program. And then this coming up week, we're starting our new art show. So Chris Miller's art photography is going to be up until tomorrow midday, and then Benjamin is coming to drop off a bunch of paintings, and I'm gonna work on getting his art show set up by Friday, and then it all begins again. So that's again.
Great.
That's what I got.
Any other questions for Josh? Yeah, I do have one. How
Yeah,
many times has Willie been here before, Josh?
this is the second time that I've had him. I don't recall that he was here previous, so unless somebody remembers that since I've been here.
Was the last one very well attended as well?
We had close to 20, so that's why before I was like, okay, well, I get some folks. I didn't think I was gonna get 64, but it was like 1:30 and people are like, oh, I'm like trying to still set up food and things. I forgot to put up the coffee creamer till halfway through. Nobody said anything, but still, I was like, oh, especially since I was looking at the coffee creamer. But because I just got to the place where suddenly it's like the chute opened up and people were just sort of coming in. So it was good, especially since I had it seemed as though this almost seems counterintuitive that the author events haven't necessarily gone that great since I've been here. It feels like unless you're getting somebody super famous or a topic that is very relevant, like local history, or like we had Jerry Sutherland for the Bay Ocean book or something. But I kind of found if it's just somebody who wrote a book about a thing, people are like, I don't know who that is. It can be kind of a tough sell, I sort of found. And so I was like, okay, we've had Willie before, we'll see how it goes. That was kind of nice.
And it was written up in, I think it was either the Coast Weekend or
Yeah.
also in that, like the Thursday.
Yeah. And I send, press releases off to Coast Weekend every month, but it's definitely an editorial decision on what makes it. I'm sure it's one of those things where they get far more people who want to send off things and what they're able to print. And then I've been sending since the end of last summer, I've been sending things to KMUN for their community calendar, and they're really good about just reading whatever I put in there. This is like, oh, now I'm doing this. Why wasn't I doing this 3 years ago?
There's talking about Russia, that actually one of the DJs was reading it out, did a shout out, and said, oh, this guy's great.
Yeah.
He's in the area, I come and hear him.
Yeah. So that's just part of my process now, is I'm just sort of setting that off also to them as well. And I've been hearing that pretty regularly, and people are saying that they're hearing it on the radio. So it was one of the better decisions that we've been able to make, was just go, oh, let's just get it off to them, because you just never know how, like I said, my experience has been that I send things off to places and who knows if they put anything. And they've been really, really supportive, and that's been really exciting.
Especially with the story and so much flows. Right?
Yeah.
That is a.
Their calendar person isn't working for the Coast Weekend anymore. So last time I sent stuff out, they're like, yeah, you need to do that now. So they pointed me to basically how I would need to make the calendar events, because I guess they don't have this person.
Well, there's been no official editor of the Signal for months.
Yeah.
And now Derek has said, he's probably not there anymore. He said he was leaving in January.
Oh, okay.
So, for now, anyway, it seems like it's in flux.
Okay.
I think the radio is a great
Yeah.
place to put it. Also local radio, you know, the bridge.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll get it, people on our contact. I think you have it, didn't you?
All right, thank you, Josh.
You're
Jennifer,
welcome.
would you like to deliver your report?
Sure, thank you. Short and sweet, since, well, I feel like we just met, as Josh said. I did sign up to present the library's annual report to city council at the February 24th meeting. So all of the departments present to city council. And I'm working on that report now. Thinking about, I think historically the way the reports have been done is they tend to be fiscal year reports. So because we follow a fiscal year reporting to the Oregon State Library, and so we use those statistics. But now that we're keeping statistics monthly, it's possible that we could shift to like an annual report. So I haven't quite figured out when to make that happen, but I'll look at it. I'll look at the data now and see if it's more compelling to try to, you know, catch us up to the full year, or just keep it with that same fiscal year.
I will tell you that as a city councilor, I would prefer to see calendar year. It's much easier to understand. So, and I don't know how the other city councilors feel, we never discussed it. But fiscal year just feels kind of broken in the middle, although we know what our fiscal year is. You know, the rest of the world operates calendar. But that's my
I
personal.
think the only concern I would see is if we had sort of budgetary things, you know, some special thing that we were doing in a fiscal year, kind of trying to figure out how it would align if it fell outside of the calendar year. But again, I think we'll get to that. Did want to just kind of give a shout out, and some of you are aware of the services that we offered when we had the power outage. We do have the generator here at the library, so when I turn the corner off of 101, after stopping at every dark four-way stop on the way in which people seem to have forgotten what to do at a four-way stop that has no lights.
A lot of tickets that day.
A lot of tickets, but I was happy to see that our Christmas lights were still on, which meant that we had power, and so we sort of decided real quickly. I put an announcement out on the COTSA scanner on Facebook and also on our Facebook page.
I saw it at least in 3 different.
That's great. And I think the word was getting out saying, oh, you can go to the library and charge your phone, and things like we did get a lot of calls that day too. We saw about a 30% increase in foot traffic over the previous Wednesday. So I looked at the numbers for Wednesday 18th and then the Wednesday 11th, and we had 30% more. It's interesting too to see throughout the day, you know, the numbers were about middle of the day, maybe double, and then it gets really like a big jump toward the afternoon. I think when folks realize that, oh, it's really not coming back on. I really now need to charge my phone and get out of this dark house. So yeah, we did see a big jump.
How do you tally the attendance? Through the door?
Through the door count. So we have 2 different systems, and we're actually piloting, we're thinking about purchasing a new system. We have the door counter that'll check you as you walk through the front door. And then we have the RFID gates. So those are the gates that you walk through to come into the library proper. So, and they're obviously capturing different numbers, right? We're capturing in and out all the time through the front door, possibly folks just getting water or using the restrooms or coming into the community room. So, you know, on Willie Lawton Day, we don't see that increase through the RFID necessarily. Because those, and the nice thing about the RFID gates is those can calculate like down, you know, by hour, by day, you can run all sorts of graphs and things. So what we'd like to do is this new system that we're looking to install, which I think is maybe about $2,000. It seems reasonable for what we would get Because the system of retrieving the numbers off of this antiquated one that's by the front door is, it's like, I don't even know how to describe it, you know, like press menu 6 times and then hour, if you mess up, you have to start over, one of those. Whereas the RFID, you just click on a link and it takes you to the page and you say, I want to see the report from this time period. It's very slick, so.
And you can convert your front door to do that.
Yeah, we can put in a new system, yeah, we can put in a new system, so we're looking to do that probably at the beginning of the fiscal year. But it is neat to be able to see those, to run those numbers, and really, I can get really like data wonky sometimes where I'm drilling down into, well, what did that window of time look like compared to this other window of time? And anyway.
It's fun.
It is fun to play with this. Yeah, a lot of folks came in. We did see an increase. I think the previous Wednesday, maybe we made 3 library cards, and on this other day, we made total amount. So that's some new folks.
So are you prepared for the possibility on Friday morning, I think it is? Power's supposed to go down 10 o'clock Thursday night and it's supposed to come back on 6 a.m.
Wait,
I got this from Pacific Power.
Or I think it's like a
Maybe it's only my neighborhood.
And it's,
Okay.
I think it's just on the north end of town.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
was talking this morning in coffee, south end people were getting, I had.
Okay,
yeah.
well,
I got it.
if the north end of town doesn't come back up, you might get people from the
Well, I mean, the thing that we noticed too is, well, we decided to put out some hot water and tea, and so folks could make, special folks got coffee from the back, but you know, if you had an in. And we just thought that was a really simple way, and not tons of folks took advantage of it, but you know, if you want a hot beverage.
I love seeing your post on the community groups. It felt very welcoming, and then I noticed other people start recommending the libraries. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, great. So actually, when we found out that there was a power outage very locally, I don't remember exactly where
The
it was.
north end of town had the longest power.
And there was another blip one day that I think power was out somewhere, so we,
We had our second.
I think maybe that was one, so we put out hot water again. See if it didn't last long. And we are chatted with Public Works, and Ed is having, I believe actually last week he had the generator folks come out and check various of the city buildings that have generators, and in ours, you could hear it from miles away, kind of like planes you could take off.
But it operated enough to do your Christmas lights and everything,
All the important
Everything
things,
was on,
computers,
everything
printers.
was on, there was never.
That's a big generator.
And it, you could hear it from space.
Yeah.
I actually turned the corner and I saw the lights and I heard the generator, and we are working, but it was a little concerning because it had that kind of sound of I'm giving it my all and my all is about to run out.
Well, that
So-
did happen in my furnace. It was making like 4 or 5
They
sounds.
usually let you know right before they decide to.
Yeah.
But their generator's fairly new.
Dying and
And I did mention that it's not, we were worrying, like, did we have to refill it with gas or is there something? It's actually run, I believe, on natural gas, so, other than that, turned it through. So, we are getting that into service last week. Thankfully, that was good.
preparation.
And so it was quite a couple of weeks since the holidays.
Any more questions on Jennifer's report? All right, moving on to old business. The 3D printing policy and procedures, which are, okay.
I did attach them, I did send them off also previously, so as I indicated in the email, They were reviewed by Spencer. And he said, let's move forward with just sort of using that as our internal policy for right now. And Alex is working on the form, so folks can request those online. And so we're just gonna move forward with that policy and sort of adjust as needed.
So people will be able to request using the 3D printer without ever walking into the library.
No, they will have to walk in the door. That's the initial request
Oh,
is
got it.
done online.
All right.
So even if someone comes to the library and says, I want to do a print, you have to do it.
You have to do it online.
You have to do it online so that we have a tracking of the projects that are happening. So it all will get funneled through there.
And does the customer doesn't do their own, you guys do it,
Correct.
we just.
Or Alex specifically.
Alex, okay, Alex.
Alex is the keeper of.
Okay.
3D printer, so, yeah, good. And he has been doing them, just
We've seen.
one-offs, yeah, you'll see evidence of that. But we thought we needed a system in place.
And the library website redesign?
So I had hoped to be able to show it to you, but I don't know the login to the building, the build your own mayor kind of site. And Alex is in on Tuesdays, so I'm not able to show you an example, but as soon as I have something, I will send it out to the board. So you can kind of take a look at it. If it's easy enough for me to share a link so that you're able to see. It's so stripped down right now that there's just a lot of placeholders. But I did want you all to see it's like color.
And then we have new business. Does anyone have any new business?
I didn't put this on here because I just met with Zach and Spencer this morning for the budget committee, and just as an aside, Spencer said that I'm green lighted to move forward with your favorite thing, updating the library policy.
I missed it last time, so I'm ready.
It takes a long
This is
time.
what it can take a long, and I think what I would like to do, sort of the work that we did on the mission, vision, and values was that preliminary work, I think, sort of getting that in place. And then from there, we can start kind of chunking it into sections, so we don't have to kind of take it all at once.
You requested to do this?
It was like the first thing when I was interviewing, saying, we really need to work with you. Yeah. Good. So, and that can go a number of ways, it could be, I feel like the mission, vision, and values work that we did was really, I felt more collaborative and for the library policy, I'm more than happy to generate things and send it to you for input, if you'd rather.
With the current and the suggested,
That's a great idea.
I like
I
that.
imagine the suggested is gonna look significantly different from.
Oh, it's not just gonna be lined out
Oh,
in
no.
these words. Oh,
It's pretty clunky.
cool.
Thank you. It's a little clunky.
I would say
Oh,
that, there's definitely some actual policy things I think need to be updated. This 3D business. But overall, it's a little off-putting just because the language of it is clunky. I'm sorry, I'm just saying it as a writer. I just think it could be a little bit more engaging.
And I'm seconding that as a reader.
Okay.
So I think there are lots of good again, as we did with the work with the mission, vision, and values, there are lots of good examples out there. There's guidelines from, state library, American Library Associations. So I think there's ways that we can
So how are you proceeding with the work on the mission, vision, and values? Is it being adopted, or, I know you sent it out for everybody to look at again. And so what's the next step?
I'm guessing we either need to add it to an agenda item for continued review and then adoption, and then we present to city council, or we do another special work session. So you all have we can put it on the February agenda.
Yeah.
I think
It's hard to
I
tell
think
at
that's
this point,
the
but I
way
think this month's agenda is pretty light, so February's is pretty light.
I think the agenda is good, not special.
Well, one of the things you might also think about for February and for the immediate future is that you're going to have two new board members. And so one of the things you may want to plunge into rather quickly is how do you onboard and orient your new board members? So start thinking about that maybe, and I know Jennifer has probably already been thinking about onboarding. Yeah.
We're not just thrown on the ocean. I don't know, that's the way I came in.
That's
But that, it actually worked out pretty well.
I know, but it's kind of nice to do it.
It's nice to have a little checklist of, did we cover all these things? Do you have any questions? Sort of a, well, and that was part of the conversation too with Spencer and John today about, what are the structures for your board? And I guess it turned out that officially it's not even in the city charter of.
The library board is a little bit different than the other boards because the library board is required by the state. And so, it's my understanding that the city is still required to name people to the library board, but it can function a little bit differently, and it's an advisor, I think, to the library director, and to the city, but it operates differently, and I'm not sure I understand all of that. But it's a required board. I think every public library is required by the state to have a library. So, yeah.
So that reason that we have the term limits that the other boards don't, it's part of that state requirements.
I have a feeling it might be, because I don't think the processes are, I think they're guided more by the state. City, but I could be wrong, and it definitely needs to be looked into.
So something I sent to Spencer today was the guidelines from the Oregon State Library, it's handbook for public library board members in Oregon. So we have that structure already.
And that might be a good thing to have as to onboard people.
It's only 60 pages.
Library board members are all readers.
I'm trying to remember,
And if you're really savvy, you can send it to ChatGPT and say, please synthesize this for me and give me the main points.
You can.
So that's a place to start. Spencer now has that too, and I may have sent this out when we were beginning the discussion about the onboarding process, but I will include that.
Speaking of the minutes, do we have to elect all of our board members now, or do we wait for the positions to fill?
You can elect them all now, but my personal advice, and I give free advice. I give it freely and you're free not to take it. My personal advice would be to wait until you're a full board before you elect the rest of them.
Okay. And I can write up these minutes, that's you all are, and it's also recorded.
and we're gonna get ChatGPT to do it in the future.
And actually Zoom, that does have a function that it will transcribe.
That's it.
It does.
I knew there was a good
You can
technical.
also, have ChatGPT record and transcribe.
Oh,
Really?
and it'll consolidate, condense it.
It'll transcribe it and then you need to have a human hand, but it's not as cumbersome as many of the transcriptions have been in previous eons.
It seems like a good use of technology.
It does, it does. I know that Spencer does that a lot for city meetings.
It is helpful, and obviously there's a lot we say that doesn't.
Right.
So you can just go through the description.
Exactly.
But it is on the recording.
If you're still on new business, I'd like to say something take off my city councilor hat and put on my hat as a member of the Friends of the Seaside Library Board. Friends of the Seaside Library. And that is, number one, under reports, we would like to be added to your agenda as giving a report, because as in many years past, Friends of Seaside Library always came to the library board meetings and gave a report. There was a report on how much money was made by the bookstore, and of course that money ultimately is contributed to the library, etc. Another reason for the immediate future that we'd like to be on the agenda is to keep the library board updated as to what's happening with the Friends of the Seaside Library. And I'll just give you a little bit of update because I'm also on the, what I call it, the group,
The merger committee.
the merger committee, thank you. Earlier I guess it was last week, I wrote up a proposed dissolution resolution for the library foundation. And I have sent this to the people I think that it needs to be sent to. We have 4 people on the merger committee: Christy Waits, myself, Leah Griffith from the foundation board, Jennifer's been there. Oh, and we have Kathy Pinehart, who is an accountant, and she is the person who has been, she got all the 501c3 things through and everything else, and she knows the history as well as anybody, better than anybody. Anyway, so I put together, with the aid of ChatGPT, a wonderful dissolution resolution for the foundation board to pass, that has a caveat in it that they will dissolve and their money will go to the Friends of the Seaside Library. And the Friends of Seaside Library must keep that money separate from the Friends money, because that really is money that people donated with the idea that it would go into a foundation. And the foundation money is used differently than Friends money. Once they dissolve, then the Friends of the Seaside Library, and I got sort of a proposed process for this. Friends of the Seaside Library will then start working on our bylaws, and we will, my recommendation is that we have a provisional board that will sit for no more than 6 months to pull together all of the new processes and the new ways we're going to do things as a group now called the Seaside Library Friends and Foundation. And so that will cover the waterfront. So far, this is reaching an agreement. It still has to be presented to the Friends of the Seaside Library Board because we were not able to meet last week. But that's the process. That's sort of where we are right now. And as a group that supports the library, it's really important that, that the Friends and the Foundation, whatever it's gonna be called, that it keeps in good communication and contact to the library board and to the library, so you know what is being done to support the library. It's also important that the group be kept informed as to what is the library's direction, what is its wants, what is its needs. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with all this.
I think that sounds great. It would be great to know what's going on.
I have a question, if I may. The money that you mentioned earlier, the $2,000 for the new system. Does that come from the foundation to the library, or does that come out of a budget line item?
It would just be part of a budget line item, so I'm given a budget each year and I get to pick how we spend it. Generally, it's pretty prescribed, you know, we spend a certain amount on books and a certain amount on paper clips and a certain amount on, you know, whatever that happens to be.
Right.
But sometimes there are those additional things of, you know, we need to maybe upgrade some AV, or we need to get a new table if the little ones are starting to fall apart. So there are some general maintenance items too that I try to work into the budget. And this is one of those items that it's small enough that we can probably absorb it within a regular budget year. Or if it's looking like we've overspent, you know, we have spent up to what we think we're gonna use in this budget year, then I can earmark it for next year and say, we'll add it next year. But often what has happened, and that's sort of where the foundation has been really supportive, if there are things that we did wanna do that were outside of that budget, we didn't feel that we could cover it with the city a lot of money, then the Friends would take on, the foundation would adopt a particular project, or the Friends even. The Friends historically fund our summer reading program, all our supplies and prizes and programs. So all of that is covered by Friends, and also a lot of our sort of programs, like Billy Lawton was covered by the Friends. And then foundation tends to be more, what are things that we need to do for the library that maybe we're not able to cover with city?
And so sort of more, foundation is sort of more long-term. Also, people can give to either one, and in giving to the Friends is more current, funding the programs, etc. Foundation, you can actually, you could will a bequest to the foundation, you could will land to the foundation. And you could say, this is what I want it used for. So then people can kind of direct how they want to support the library after they die, or even in the next few years. You could say to the foundation, I want to give this money to the foundation, and I want you to use X number of dollars every year to buy books or something. It's a lot more directive, and by combining the Friends and the foundation, we actually can have more effect. And we can, the things have been under the radar for so long. We can really get people being more involved in supporting the library. You know, supporting the library doesn't just mean you check out books. And it doesn't just mean that you buy books from the bookstore. It can mean a lot of different things. And so I think we have a new vision for how to support and market and public relations for all this.
Very exciting. And part of that new website that we're putting together will have a more robust landing page for those things.
I'm gonna pull out my phone and cheat for this next part.
Oh, the next meeting.
Their next meeting will be Tuesday, February 4th at 4 p.m. Is there any other public comment?
Now's your chance. Public.
I think I very well during the meeting, I'm sorry, I told myself I wasn't gonna say.
All right, meeting is adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.